move.
She was super bossy.
Give me some pies. Give me some of the good pies.
That's her finger on that.
I wouldn't get sassy.
You're a fugitive from justice.
I'm like a Cheeto. You can't eat just one.
Look out, fish!
Lay's potato chips.
No, not for me. I love a Cheeto.
Tammy.
Just throw the money through the window and we'll get out of here.
I'm unrobbing you. I'm giving it back. We're gonna need more pies.
Rated R. July.
Do I really need to say anything else about this one? Welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. Today we are taking a look at the 4 films that make up 4th of July weekend 2014. And sadly, the biggest of the new releases was Tammy, a movie that was directed and co-written by Melissa McCarthy's husband, Ben Falcone, in his directorial debut. And essentially, it was the film that kind of killed the buzz of a Melissa McCarthy movie that turns out to be really good. Because, yeah, after the successes that she had with Bridesmaids and Identity Thief and The Heat, this was the one that really was the one that broke the camel's back. And it's just like, yeah, it's going to be a hit probably, but it ain't going to be a good movie, because that's for damn certain here. You have a woman named Tammy, played by Melissa McCarthy, who hits the road with her profane, alcoholic grandmother, played by Susan Sarandon, after she finds out that her husband, Nat Faxon, is cheating on her. You also have a cast that includes Allison Janney, Gary Cole, Mark Duplass, Toni Collette, Sandra Oh, Dan Aykroyd, Kathy Bates. A solid cast all across the board. It's produced by Will Ferrell and Adam McKay. Usually they produce some good stuff, but yeah, this one, not so much. It's about as bad as every bad Melissa McCarthy movie as you can get. It's always a movie about her being fat, and that's the way the comedy is going to be. It's just like, oh, she's bumbling, she's clumsy, she's going to roll around all over the place, and it's supposed to be funny. No, it's not funny at all. It's just not funny. Like, here's the thing. When people like Chris Farley did that for Tommy Boy and Black Sheep, that was funny. And Beverly Hills Ninja, too. That was funny stuff, because Chris Farley knew what he was doing. The jokes were not completely... not every joke was centered around the fact that this guy is fat or obese or he's clumsy. When it does work on that, it was usually very funny. Here's what happens when you take that and just make it obnoxiously unfunny. Like, this is the movie that's made by people who think that everything they do is going to be funny, and it's just not. There's nothing hilarious about this movie whatsoever. There's nothing hilarious about watching Melissa McCarthy doing the stuff she does here. And I like Melissa McCarthy. I don't think she's as bad as everyone makes her out to be. She can be very funny. She can be a good actress. And, yeah, this one was just kind of like, let's just make the comedy on the fact that she's fat, she's oblivious, she's a nut, she's clumsy, she's wacky, and that'll be the crux of our comedy. And you can't do it with stuff like this. You just can't do it with a film like this. And the results speak for themselves here. It's just a lousy film. It's not funny. It's just simply not funny. Nothing is funny about watching this woman bumbling around for 90 minutes and just because you're an R-rated movie, you throw in curse words or some gross out humor. Just like, it doesn't make it funny. You need to have a point to your existence. It just doesn't work, man. It's a bad film. It's a lazy film. It's not funny whatsoever. And with this and Identity Thief, it really killed the Melissa McCarthy buzz. And it just really was not funny overall. But luckily, McCarthy will get back on track next year with a much better movie from the director of The Heat's called Spy. But we'll touch on that in the summer of 2015. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which I'll be perfectly honest with you, I really had no idea what this movie was. I do remember it came out back in the day, but I just remember nothing about it. Eric Bana, and I think that's Olivia Munn, starring in the horror film Deliver Us from Evil.
Doesn't Daddy go to church with us?
Your daddy used to go. See, I heard scratching noises under the floor in our room.
Scratching noises. Something's happening all over the city.
Man, what's wrong with you? Why'd you do that to your kid?
We haven't scenes from evil.
Let me show you. Mommy.
Deliver Us from Evil. Rated R.
Yeah, I remember nothing about this movie. I remember that it existed. I remember that it came out in the middle of summertime. I honestly had no idea it was directed by Scott Derrickson until I literally looked up on Wikipedia and saw his name attached to it. Just like, oh, he directed this movie, so maybe it's got a shot at being good. But Yeah, I don't remember a lot about this movie, but you have a New York police officer played by Eric Bana struggling with his own personal issues, and he begins to investigate a series of disturbing and inexplicable crimes. Joins forces with an unconventional priest played by Edgar Ramirez, who's schooled in the rituals of exorcism to combat the frightening and demonic possessions that are terrorizing the city. Based upon the book, which details Sarchi's, Eric Bana's bone-chilling real-life cases. So on the one hand, it looks pretty cool. I mean, the atmosphere is pretty good overall. But other than that, though, this really does not look like anything we haven't seen done before in other movies. I mean, really, when you look at all the stuff we saw in that one trailer alone, did a lot of that seem very familiar to you? Because I certainly saw a lot of familiarity to it. Like, you know, all these whole things. It's just like, let's do creepy things with the children and all that. Let's do creepy things with the toys. Let's have scratching and like weird noises and all that. Let's make Eric Bana somebody who doesn't put his faith in religion. So is it supposed to be a religious horror movie too? Like, you know, it's just so much is going on in this. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense overall, but I don't remember very much about it, so honestly, I can't really say if it's a good movie or not. I really don't remember a whole lot about this film, and that's probably not a good sign for a movie directed by the same guy who's made some really good horror movies. I mean, The Exorcism of Emily Rose was very atmospheric and very creative, even though it tried to do too much. Sinister was a great movie. You know, the Black Phone movies are great, but this just feels like it's A, giving you way too much of stuff, and B, giving you way too much of stuff you've seen done before in many other movies. It feels so confusing and all that, and I just don't think it really worked in general, as far as I remember it. But, again, it has been so long since I've seen this, so I can't even tell you really if this is a good movie or not. So, I wish I could have given you more information, but sorry, that's the best I can do for you here. That's Deliver Us from Evil. Make up your mind on whether you should see it or not. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie. And that is, well, I know we've seen this done before. Well, maybe I'm getting too far here. I mean, just take a look at this wonderful trailer for Earth to Echo that is so original and so creative that does not remind you at all of one of the biggest movies of all time, right? Right?
There's something in there.
I'm talking about this. It's garbage.
Whoa, is that an alien?
Now,
It's trembling like it's hurt.
Can we fix you?
it takes heart.
Guys, we're all he's got.
It takes courage.
Don't worry, we'll get you home.
I think he's getting better.
It takes believing
Echo, we need your help.
to do the impossible.
We know now that we can do anything.
Earth to Echo.
Did no one just see the giant spaceship?
Rated PG. Now in theaters.
I mean, I can't believe somebody would be that desperate to remake Maccabee. I mean, where's the kid in the wheelchair? I mean, it's literally the same movie, am I right? Where's the McDonald's tie-in? I'm not even going to waste my time on this joke. You know that this is a ripoff of E.T., and the film isn't even hiding it. But not only is it a ripoff of E.T., the filmmakers are aware of that, but we're not only going to rip off that, we're going to rip off The Goonies, we're going to rip off Stand By Me, hell, we're going to rip off modern movies. Did you see how much money Chronicle made at the box office? Of course we're going to modernize this and do absolutely nothing new that you haven't seen done before. So in this movie, you have four neighborhood friends who find a robotic telekinetic alien in the desert, and are soon hunted by a dangerous force who seeks to take the alien, who the kids name Echo, for themselves. The film is shot in a found footage style from many perspectives, including through a handheld camera, smartphone cameras, and the robot's eyes. So, something you have to keep in mind about this movie is that this was originally supposed to be a Disney release. It was developed and produced by Disney under the leadership of the head of the company, Rich Ross, but then Disney sold the distribution rights over to Relativity Media, who put this movie out, and they released the film. And it made money, I guess, but come on, man. I mean, did you see it, what we just saw? This is nothing but a ripoff of not only E.T., not only The Goonies, not only Stand By Me, not only Chronicle. This is Short Circuit. Like, this movie, this is a prime example of what happens when you try to create a new, daring sci-fi original concept and just do nothing but rip off another more successful project. I mean, we saw that earlier in the year with Transcendence. We're going to see it later in the month with Lucy. But I guess in this case, this is definitely the better of those three films. But, I mean, there's nothing about this movie that's interesting whatsoever. This is directed by Dave Green, by the way. And, of course, at least his career after this will definitely be a lot better. He did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, which I thought was really good. And he's given us this summer's Coyote vs. Acme, so we're all looking forward to that. So, I mean, it's not his fault, really, that the movie is bad. It's just a script that's been done to death before. There's nothing about it that's new or interesting. The robot isn't even that impressive to look at. It's just kind of a generic-ass robot. I mean, it's just not a good movie. It's just not an enjoyable film. It's just really kind of boring. And again, it's another E.T. clone. And after 30 years when the time this was coming out, over 30 years of movies since E.T., people stopped making the E.T. clones back in the late 80s, and here's a studio that's trying to do the same thing all over again. It just doesn't work. It just didn't work in this case here. So yeah, we're 0 for 3 on movies this weekend so far, but we are going to end it on a high note here. We definitely are going to end it on a high note, because this one is just a great film overall. It's the Roger Ebert documentary based off of his book, Life Itself.
Let's move on to a movie now that's one of the most brilliant, weird, and unusual American documentary films I've seen in a long time.
Roger Ebert was the definitive mainstream film critic in American cinema.
He has been writing for half of the history of feature films. Roger was a mature writer early on.
He's written over a dozen books.
He wrote a novel.
He won a Pulitzer Prize.
How on earth did Roger Ebert write Beyond the Valley of the Dolls?
Boobs.
Beyond the Valley. You know, this is a title.
Roger was good at dishing, but he also could take it. He is a nice guy, but he's not that nice.
It's Thriller Week on Siskel and Ebert in the movies, and we've got 3 new ones. Sound a little excited, Gene. Sound less excited, Roger.
Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel were the most powerful critics of all time.
The perfect matching of opposites.
Even though Roger wrote Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, Gene lived the life.
These were towering figures clashing.
It was, I'm going to crush you.
You give Benji the Hunter a positive review.
That's totally unfair, because you realize
They almost didn't care what anyone else thought, as long as they could try to persuade the other.
This morning I confess that I am a sick person. 3 years ago, I felt a lump under my chin, and it turned out to be cancer.
Roger had an inner core made of steel.
You want to rest a little bit or work a little bit?
Ask Steve. He's the director.
He is a soldier of cinema who cannot even speak anymore, and he plows on, and that touches my heart very deeply.
As a film critic, he was somebody who gave life to new voices, gave life to new visions that reflected all the diversity of this nation.
He made it possible for a bigger audience, a wider audience, to appreciate cinema as an art form, because he really loved films.
For me, the movies are like a machine that generates empathy. It lets you understand hopes, aspirations, dreams, and fears. It helps us to identify with the people who are sharing this journey with us.
So one thing we got to start off with this is the fact that I screwed up yesterday by saying that Roger Ebert had died earlier that year in April. That was actually 1 year before, in 2013, when he died. In April 2013, that's when he passed away. So the first thing I want to get out of the way here, but like I said, this is based off of Roger Ebert's autobiography called Life Itself, which makes use of footage, including him, featuring interviews with him during the final months of his life, interspersed with interviews from his friends, colleagues, and family, including Chaz Ebert, his wife, Martin Scorsese, Werner Herzog, Errol Morris, Ava DuVernay, just to name a few. There's also clips from the Siskel and Ebert Show, outtakes, and many appearances on The Tonight Show and David Letterman. It also explores the relationship between Siskel and Ebert, Roger's friendship with Russ Meyer, and their collaboration on Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, as well as Roger ultimately coming to transcend film criticism and becoming an influential cultural and political voice. And even if you know so much about Roger Ebert from his many works, television, publications, whatever, this is still a mesmerizing look into one of the great people of our generation by showing a lot of people that a lot of things that you never really knew about the people like Roger Ebert, and not just him, but also the people around him. The documentary is such an amazing feat, as it does present a lot of amazing information about Roger and Gene as well. Like how Siskel always used to live in the Playboy Mansion before he became a prominent film critic. They show pictures of his early days with Hugh Hefner and other people during that time. And in fact, even in the trailer, you heard it there, Roger Ebert wrote Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. Gene Siskel was living Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. And it also shows Ebert influencing a lot of directors, Scorsese, Ava DuVernay, who's going to have Selma coming out later in the year, and really turning out one of the best movies of the year. It all feels very real. It doesn't feel hokey or there just to be dramatic. It reminded me so much of the Johnny Carson documentary, where you have all these different celebrities coming in, these comedians who got their career started because of Johnny Carson. None of it feels fake whatsoever, and especially here, and even in here as well. Like I'm saying, especially here, but no, not this with this and the Johnny Carson thing. Whenever people talk about the people involved in the documentaries, it never feels fake whatsoever. It never feels like you're watching something that's just been fabricated to get a cheap emotional plug out of you. It's not like it's not a Logan Paul apology video. It's nothing like that whatsoever. None of the dramatic moments here feel fake at all. It's genuine. It's very poignant, especially when you see Roger in the hospital trying to recover from cancer. They have some of the most emotional and powerful scenes of any documentary that I've ever seen. You can see the pain that Roger is going through in these scenes. But he's not taking it out on anyone. He's not getting upset. He's not getting angry. He's just taking it as it is and does the best he can under the circumstances that he's in. Like the scene where he's on a walker and he goes for a couple of brief steps before wanting to stop because of the pain he's feeling. I mean, that's just great stuff right there. That's just really excellent stuff that you don't get a lot of in documentaries that feel genuine, that feel very authentic overall. Like, there's a lot of interesting things that were said about Ebert before, like about how, a Leonard Cohen song saved him as he was about to leave the hospital after his cancer surgery, and he had to be admitted back in when his cardio artery burst near the surgery site. The most powerful moment of the film is towards the end, when Roger had said in the days leading up to his death that he was ready to go, and didn't tell his wife Chaz about it, that he didn't want defibrillation. You can just see the heartbreak in her eyes in the interview when she remembers that moment. That just felt so real and so authentic. That's where the heart of the film comes from, the emotions. There are people who loved Roger and knew that he was not just a fan of movies, he loved movies. He also loved life, hence the title of his memoir. It is such a fascinating documentary that packs in all these great emotional moments, wonderful stories about Ebert, and just a lot of good funny moments too. There's great stuff we never knew about Roger Ebert. Like, he never knew, like he always said he always said that the reason why he never drank or smoked was because he saw Pinocchio, but the documentary tells you that, yeah, he drank and smoked behind the scenes. So yeah, that's one of those things where he's kind of lying to you because he's trying to hide those personal demons behind him, but it's all perfectly handled very well. Like, if you were ever a fan of Roger Ebert's work, or were just like me, heavily influenced by his work, this is definitely a movie worth checking out, and it makes sense why this movie works. This is directed by the same guy that did Hoop Dreams, Steve James, and Hoop Dreams is one of my favorite movies of all time, one of the greatest documentaries of all time that got screwed over so badly at the Oscars because the Oscars didn't want to give a good documentary that wasn't like any other documentary being made at that time or nominated that year the Oscar. And what a shocker, this one didn't get nominated for an Oscar either, even though it's still one of the best documentaries ever. Like, this is definitely, as Roger Ebert put it, I give this a big thumbs up overall. If you have not seen Life Itself, seek this out. It's definitely one of the greatest documentaries you will ever see in your life. Even if you're not a big Roger Ebert fan, you can still admire the work and the effort they put into this. This does not feel fake at all. This feels real. This feels authentic. It's a great piece of filmmaking. Life Itself, simply amazing work. Definitely check it out. And now I'm the one that's getting emotional, man, because talking about that, I mean, after the way the show started, I mean, I'm glad we can end it on a really good note with a really good documentary that's worth checking out. But the movies are going to get better because next time on Time About the Movies, we're going to take a look at two of the more notable movies of the year. The sequel to Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, this time directed by Matt Reeves. And basically, he turned this franchise around to become one of the great trilogies we've had in the last couple of years. It starts with the second movie, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Rise of the Planet of the Apes was the big hit. You didn't think they could really top what they did there, but Dawn of the Planet of the Apes says otherwise. We'll touch on that, and we'll finally take a look at Richard Linklater's long-awaited film that he's shot segments every single year for like the last 12 years, and now it's finally coming out, Boyhood. We'll take a look at that movie overall, and with all that said, that's going to wrap this episode of the show up. Thanks for watching, and if you like what you saw and want to see more videos like this, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. So with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.